of November 2022. I am Sheriff Quadry. You can watch us live right now on Facebook and on YouTube because we're reaching you live on those two platforms. And yay, our phone lines are back, so we'll be able to make use of our telephone lines for this conversation this morning. It's Health Thursday on the Morning Crossfire every Thursday. This is what we do. We discuss health and health-related matters. And remember, I always say, this Health Thursday, wasn't created or curated to treat. What we have designed this day for is to educate, to inform. So if you have any form of illness or any health condition, you need to speak to your doctor. Don't wait till Thursday when we'll bring health experts on the show before you now remember to ask those questions about your own health. Please take it very, very seriously. Thank you. Today we're looking at prostatitis. That's right. Why do people with prostate cancer, prefer visiting religious institutions and leaders, for treatment rather than approaching hospitals or clinics in Nigeria? I've always wanted to ask that question, but that's by the way. This morning we'll be letting you know what prostatitis is, the symptoms, the signs, and possible way of approaching it if you're interested in treating it, or you should be interested in treating it. To discuss this is a medical doctor, Dr. Oluwatimilehin. Ogunkoya is here with me. Dr. Ogunkoya, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria.
How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm very well, thank you. It's good to be back here once again.
I'm sorry about the traffic this morning, Abi.
I guess it's part of where we live.
Yeah. Remember that you next week is International Men's Day, so this is in two parts. Next week we'll discuss men's health. We'll look at some areas of men's health, and we'll talk extensively on that. But for this morning, what is prostatitis?
All right. I think that's a really good place to start. But I also had made a mental note in my mind that when I get here, I was going to welcome you back.
Thank you.
So it's good to have you back, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me once again. Yeah. I'm delighted to be here. Prostatitis, which might sound like a mouthful, and perhaps for some individuals, this is the very first time that they might be hearing such a disease condition, because the more common thing that affects the prostate that people are aware of is prostate cancer.
That's right.
Or BPH, which is benign prostatic hyperplasia. But there is also something called prostatitis, which is what we're discussing and looking at in the course of this conversation. And quite interesting that we're doing so that we're not just focused on BPH or prostate cancer, but that people know that, there is such a thing as prostatitis, and then they are able to address it. So in its most simple form, prostatitis is an inflammatory process going on in the prostate. There's a medical hack that you could remember even after today's conversation, is that once a disease entity ends with itis, it means there's an inflammation going on. So whether it's conjunctivitis, whether it's pancreatitis, once you hear that itis at the end, it just means that there's an inflammatory process going on.
When you say inflammation and inflammatory process, what does it mean? Please help me break it down for my people.
All right.
What inflammation? What is it?
And that's a really good next step, because so now we know, first of all, that prostatitis is inflammation of the prostate, but then the key word there is inflammation. So what exactly are we saying? So in very, very clear-cut terms, inflammation is the body's way of responding to an irritant or to a stimuli that is a foreign body of some sort, whether it's a pathogen, meaning whether it's disease-causing or something of that sort. It's how the body responds usually, or even if you have a wound, how the body is responding to that particular event is what you would call inflammation. So it has three basic elements. There is swelling, there is redness, and there is some pain as well when an inflammatory process is going on. So say, for example, if you have conjunctivitis, your eyes will get red, there might be a bit of swelling, and there would also be some pain going on in that particular organ.
Apart from these signs and symptoms you've mentioned, are there other ones when it comes to prostatitis that people can watch out for as signs and symptoms of it?
Absolutely. But I think that just before we get to that, we should also take a closer look at the prostate. And I know that it's possible that the conversation about prostate might be slightly polarizing, meaning that it might seem like, it's only the men that are involved. But I always like to say that even if it's a disease that has to do with men, it should be for men and the women that love the men, so that everybody is carried along in the course of that conversation.
Your head did, yeah.
Just so that the women don't tune up and say, this conversation today is just for the men. No, it should be for every one of us. We should know exactly what it is. So the prostate in itself is an organ that is located. So it's usually described as a walnut-sized organ. So it's not a very large organ.
big.
It's located at the base of the bladder. So if you have the bladder, you have the prostate just at the base of the bladder. Now that positioning is very strategic because once the prostate is affected, a lot of the signs and symptoms you would see are urinary in nature. So it's because of the position that
positioning
it takes. So it's
under the
right
bladder.
below the bladder, and then the urethra sort of just passes through, which is where the urine, goes through just before it comes out. Now, because of where it is placed, then the symptoms you would see most likely are going to be urinary in nature.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The bladder is where the urine is stored. I mean.
Exactly, precisely.
Okay.
So just so that we don't assume that
Yes.
everyone knows exactly what that is.
Exactly.
So it's where the urine is stored just before it's passed out. So
Alright.
because the prostate is located just below the bladder, a lot of the symptoms that you would see and the signs would be urinary in nature. So you expect that an individual most likely might have what are called lower urinary tract symptoms, LUTS.
Okay.
Now, the three commonest that you might find is frequency, meaning that the individual that has prostatitis more likely would frequent the gents more frequently than any other person will. They would want to pass out urine. There's also urgency, that need to want to pass out the urine. There might also be something called dysuria, which is pain while passing out urine. So those are some of the urinary symptoms that you expect to see. In some instances, it's also possible that the individual with prostatitis might also have pain when ejaculating.
Okay.
That's also a possibility. And that also speaks to the location that we mentioned as to where exactly it is. So that's also something that can happen. But largely, those are the things that you would expect to see, is the urinary symptoms, and as well as a couple of other things that might also happen.
I want us to move on very quickly because of time, because once we head out to for our first break, it will take some time for us to get back. So let's cover as much ground as possible in this brief, short time that we have. Talk to me about whether age is connected to these or not.
All right. So that's a really, really good perspective to have. So generally, when it comes to the prostate, age plays a factor. Generally, it's that as we get older, every organ in the body isn't as effective as it used to be previously, and so it's likely that there would be some processes going on within the organ. So age plays a significant role when it comes to BPH as well as prostate cancer. But for prostatitis, interestingly, it's even more common in younger men, and as well as also occurring in older men. So in this case, you aren't just looking at just the older people, because usually that's the thought pattern around prostate-related issues. You think that first and foremost, this is something for people in their 50s, in their 60s, but young people can come down with prostatitis because when you sort of try to break down prostatitis, there's the possibility that an individual has what is called acute bacterial prostatitis. So an individual, as a result of an infection, can have prostatitis. So the individual has urinary tract infections, for example, and then that infection just ascends the urethra and gets to the prostate. So that is not a respecter of age. So younger people can come down with a UTI that can lead to prostatitis. So to answer the question in its best possible form, is that prostatitis isn't just for older people. Younger people can actually come down with prostatitis.
What are other causes of this then? I mean, we've talked about the UTI infection and all of that, but what are other causes?
All right. So to sort of help to categorize it, just so that, if we're able to give the typology or the types of it, then we can be able to identify the possible causes of it.
All right. It's a good way to start.
So if we look at it in that fashion, so if we look at the first two types, which are bacterial in nature, so it could be acute bacterial prostatitis or chronic bacterial prostatitis. In that case, what we're referring to is something that is bacterial in origin, usually a urinary tract infection, like we had mentioned earlier. However, in some instances, it's not bacterial. So it might not be an infection. It might be a bladder outlet obstruction. It might be some anomaly with the urethra that is feeding back urine into the bladder, or it's getting to the prostate, irritating the prostate, leading to that inflammatory process that we had mentioned earlier. But largely what you would find in many cases is that it's as a result of an infection, but that's not all that there is. If there's something wrong with the neck of the bladder, or the bladder is just not able to flow, allow for the urine to flow as effectively as you want it to, it can become a problem. Some other individuals will have other broad urinary issues or kidney stones and things like that, once there are anomalies around that entire structure, then it's possible that the individual can come down with that inflammatory process that we've said is prostatitis.
Fantastic. Lagos, if you're just joining us, you're welcome. This morning, I have Dr. Ogunkoya here, and we're discussing prostatitis. And this has a lot to do with men, but if you're a woman who loves men, how did you put it? That's how you put it.
Now, the conversation isn't just for men, it's also for the women that love the men.
Exactly. Yeah, so you're free to call in and ask these questions. 0700 993 993 993. 01465 7190. I would love for you to chip it in here because I have my own questions here that I'm trying to rush through. But let's just give you the chance, to be able to interact with Dr. Ogunkoya on prostatitis. You can call 01 277 0993, 01 277 1993, 01 277 2993, and 01 277 3993. Or if you're a female, you can call 01465 7190. If you're a female, that's 01465 7190 if you're a female. Or just send me a message on WhatsApp 0809 597 5805. Nigeria Info, good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Sheriff.
Yes, please.
And good morning. Okay, good morning, Mr. Sunday Japan.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Okay. Good morning to your guests too. Please, I need to ask. Of course, I listened to your guest. I listened to every bit he said, and of course, I compare and I contrast, those symptoms within myself. I thought I didn't have, but that does not, to me, suffice that maybe I should not go for test anyway. Okay. But I want to ask that, getting to like 50, in the middle 40s now.
Yeah.
Can someone, does maybe lifestyle in terms of eating lifestyle and all sorts, does it also affect
the prostate,
to prostate or whatever?
All right.
I have not even experienced any of this.
All right. Thank you. Your point is noted. Let me just quickly go to, because of time, really. It's part of what I was going to ask you. What are the other factors that could lead to it? Apart from the bacterial, the viral, other, the external factors that could lead to a lifestyle, like the caller said.
All right, great. And that's a really good point. So I had envisaged that there is no way this conversation is going to be limited to just prostatitis.
Yeah.
Because it's also important to create a distinction between prostatitis and an enlargement of the prostate. I know I had said earlier that prostatitis has to do with inflammation of the prostate, which means there will be some swelling. But it's quite different from an enlargement of the prostate, which is benign prostatic hyperplasia. So we should, as much as possible, be able to distinguish between both of them clearly. That for prostatitis, it's a response. It's an inflammatory response that is going on.
Okay.
For the enlargement of the prostate, so many other factors come to play. But you might want to ask, can someone from prostatitis get into BPH? Possibly. Is that it can lead to it in some instances, particularly if it's chronic, meaning that it's been going on for a very long time. But the most important thing to bear in mind, and this is to answer his question, is that when it comes to checking the enlargement of the prostate, it's important that we make the right lifestyle modifications. And that starts with what we're eating, ensuring that we're eating healthy. And that in itself is usually an exhaustive conversation.
Right.
So
you can say that again.
Into the details and
you can say that again.
It might be a bit complex and all of that. But it's important that we ensure that individuals, particularly as young men or as men generally, that we're improving or increasing our intake of fruit and vegetables, particularly fruits that would contain lycopene, that helps with enhancing and harnessing the prostate growth. So you're looking at things that would contain that, and that's on one hand.
Yeah.
Also to mention that as we're getting older, we also want to try to reduce our intake of red meat, for example. That also has been indicated or indicted as a culprit when it comes to enhancing prostate enlargement in some instances. But the overarching thought really is that ensuring that we're able to eat healthy, that we're also exercising regularly. And that's also very, very important, because you and I can agree that the tendency to be sedentary in these days is much higher.
It's much higher.
A lot of us are just seated for
You
hours.
can say that again.
Honestly,
especially these days where technology is just very close by, we can be very, 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 very immobile. in this generation. Let me take one or two more calls, then we'll talk about. Or should I ask my own question? I have plenty, honestly. Okay, let me take one. Good morning to you. Okay, this person is gone. Let's take another one. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Sheriff.
Yes, please. Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Shagun calling from K2.
You're welcome, Mr. Shagun. Welcome.
Yeah, I just want to ask the medical doctor. If one is having a kind of a pain, not really a sharp pain, but occasionally a pain on the right tactics, one of the tactics, the right one, the pains will only come like 2-3 days at a time, and at times it just go. Then like 2 or 3 weeks after, the pain will still persist. You experience the pain again. What kind of thing? What do you think about that, sir?
Did you get that?
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay. All right, Mr. Shagun. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Yeah.
All right. So his question has to do with testicular pain. So that's what he's mentioning, is that from time to time it's possible that he experiences some testicular pain. And thankfully, I'm glad that you started this conversation by saying that the crux of what we're discussing largely has to do with prevention and education.
That's right.
And so my first advice to him is to ensure that he gets to the hospital. And the reason is quite simple. You don't want to be making assumptions as to what might be responsible for what he's experiencing. And it's best that you present at the hospital so that we can examine, is this a varicocele? What exactly might be going on here? What's responsible for this? And it would go beyond the ambit of just a conversation. What is important is to examine him properly so that we're able to take the next steps.
Let's take another. Let's see who is here. Good morning to you.
Hello, Sheriff.
Good morning.
I greet your guest as well.
I salute you.
Thank you, sir. This is Alex calling.
Welcome, Alex.
Please, there's two scenarios, and please, Sheriff, don't laugh at this. So please, doctor,
I will try.
what could be the scenario? Like you are trying to do some dishwashing, and suddenly you see yourself like about to, pass out, and you have to rush to the toilet to issue yourself. I've observed myself like twice on that. What would be the cause? And secondly,
wait first. The dishwashing is not
like
exactly
when you're
dishwashing.
trying to clean, and you notice that you want to urinate.
You in the kitchen.
No, like you have that sensation that you need to urinate.
Okay. And
I don't know if you get the question.
it will now feel like you want to pass out.
Yes. Not as in pass out, as in like you want to eat, you want to, go and pee.
Okay.
It comes like that, unexpectedly.
Oh.
Like
Okay.
twice. I've been noticing that. Just I try to observe myself. Then secondly, the other one, because I drink a lot of water. And I try to make sure I drink before 7, though sometimes maybe 8. But I observe sometimes 3 or 4 times during the night.
All right, Alex, thank you. Because of time, let me add this to it because we'll head out now. This person says, can this prostatitis be caused by having sexual intercourse with a woman that has stopped menstruation? Is that what you're trying to say? I think so. That has stopped menstruating. That's the question there. But let's have you attend to Alex's own. If we have enough time, we can attend to this as well.
All right, great. Thank you so much for calling in and for asking, Alex. And I think it's a really good question because it sort of exemplifies some of the things that we had mentioned earlier. So both of Alex's questions speak to 2 of the symptoms that we had mentioned earlier. But it's also important that we don't reach that conclusion that Alex has a problem with his prostate. That would be a rash assumption in that sense. But like I said, some of the things that he described exemplifies what we had mentioned earlier. So we mentioned the fact that it's possible that the individual has some sense of urgency, meaning that they are quite pressed and it becomes quite difficult to even retain or hold back from actually passing out urine, which ideally shouldn't be that much of a burden. But in some instances, it's possible that it becomes so intense that the individual can be said to have some sense of urgency. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we also mentioned about frequency, and in some instances that can translate into nocturia, meaning that the individual then has to wake up multiple times in the night to actually pass out urine. And so both of those experiences that he has outlined possibly can describe some of the symptoms that we had mentioned, but it's not a given that he has an issue with his prostate. What is expected, like I said earlier as well, is to present to the hospital. There can be other reasons why individuals have some of these symptoms. It's not necessarily that it's prostatitis or that it's an issue with their prostate.
First is to present to the hospital so that you can be properly diagnosed of what exactly is going on. Let's take that break now. When we return, we'll talk some more with Dr. Oluwatimilehin Ogunkoya. Lagos, stay here with us. We'll be back.
Every day is a new experience for me here. And look, see how excited I was coming into this studio. It was like a kid in a candy shop. What I enjoy doing the most here, let me put it in my own words, is Dear Bumi, because it's relaxing, it's hilarious. And of course, I for the life of me, I would never miss doing programs with Sheriff in the morning. It's one of the best. That's what keeps me alive and going. I think the one that I would remember the most, believe you me, is the one I did with Made Kuti, Femi's son. Every time I looked at, every time I think of the young guy, I feel so inspired because I'm always thinking of tomorrow. I'm youth driven. I'm not saying I'm a youth, but I'm youth driven. Oh, the best thing about being a radio show host is when people hold your hand in public, they pray for you, they send you messages and appreciate what you're doing. Because it's, apart from it being a big job, it's a sacrifice. If you want to do this job well, it is a big, big sacrifice. I'm not known to be a liar. I'm somebody who, and the reason why I don't lie about certain things is I don't want to be caught out. Okay, so if I overslept, you hear me on radio saying, sorry I came late, I overslept. I don't want anybody telling me that this is what happened. I'm very conscious of that. So I don't think I ever lied not to be on air. I'd have called ahead to say, because I'm a professional to the core, and you can ask those who work with me. If I can't make it, sometimes I'd call Sheriff in the morning and say, Sheriff, let me, I'm tired. If I'm tired, I'm tired, So I don't think I've been caught out as such. I can't remember any time.
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this.
City have to defend for 6 minutes. They do not want to attack this. Felon Mendy across into the penalty area, headed down by the Madrid players. Still Madrid hopping around City's penalty box. A chance could come for them. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 4-5 for Navigates. Here it comes. Is it 2-2? They are back.
Incredible. Well, one of the great nights as a radio football commentator, certainly. Was special. It was special. You could sense it. I literally could sense a potential comeback, and I wasn't surprised that it happened. But how I was still able to articulate my words after that goal came in, something magical. So one of those great nights.
Thanks, Alexander.
Liverpool are majestic. You can't coach against this. I'm a sucker for Trent. If he wasn't a Liverpool player, I would wear a jersey with Trent at the back. That was special. It was a free kick from about 38, 40 yards against Chelsea, a team I somehow don't fancy. It was special, and I fell off the seat. It's a classic. I don't think any commentator has been able to do that.
Time to upgrade, to the new way to live. Back with one title, not a new way to live. Anytime, any day, anywhere, make it connect with S22. Anytime, any day, anywhere, S22 there for you. Time to upgrade.
To enjoy fast, secure, and reliable banking, dial Sterling Bank's trusted code *822# and follow the instructions. Sterling Bank, your one customer bank.
So the way you did since. Where that criminal? You must pay my rent today.
Oga landlord, calm down.
Officer, Dakun, I beg you to your loan. Before you carry this criminal go, make him pay my rent first too.
Oga landlord, them no dey carry me go anywhere. In fact, now my personal security be this. My life don't change. Your wife been tell me say when I won't sell the house for 150 million naira. Take up. Now the cash be this.
Yay, na lie yo.
Not true, Oga landlord. With the one win for Mega Millions Naija Lottery. My life will change, oh.
Mega Millions Lottery. Will be Sonny. How I fit play now?
Oh, now don't hear am. Oh, yeah, sharply visit www.megamillionsnaija.com to register, play, and win. This message is brought to you by Mega Millions Naija. Play it, win it. Not for those under 18.
We don't die for where we dey, oh yeah. Now so promise and fail, oh yeah. And it don't day, we don't day wait. PDP don't come again. Jando malole she wala matele, Jando for governor, Jando under PDP, Jando 2023, Jando wala matele, Jando for governor, Jando for Lagos, Jando for everybody. Fight for Lagos, fight for Lagos,
Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jandor as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
You summon the oracle now. Greetings, my king. How can the oracle serve you?
You will tell me the secret to your power. How did that keke move without a driver?
My secret is the power of 5G.
Tell me more about the power of 5G.
With hyper-fast internet speed, slow to zero lag and buffering, multiple connections and quality data sharing, 5G will give you amazing things like remote surgeries, self-driving vehicles, instant file downloads, smart homes. 5G's amazing technology will change the way we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, now MTN 5G.
It's the biggest sales event of the year. Some call it Black Friday, Africans call it
When you shop every day like it's a holiday, oh. Discount the prices, so shop all you want, A Black Friday like you've never seen before. Then you go all I say, thank God it's
Konga Yakata from 11th November to 12th December. Genuine products are cheaper at Konga, the e-commerce group you trust.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
Hi there, my name is Mercy Johnson Okoji.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there, I am Aproko Doctor.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruz with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil is Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
Power oil.
Star 997. To keep your money, you don't need to worry. Them no go fit to scam you, and you don't need the bank account. Any transaction you go fit to perform. You don't even need smartphone, and you don't need the data. Create in-air wallet. Check your balance. Transfer money. Any service you need. You can bank on it. Yes, you can. Just take your phone and press. In the village, in the city, anywhere where you dey. Whether you be barber or you dey sell akara, any job where you get, you just know say yes you can. You can bank on it. Oh yeah, alele sarewa, monsin sorry, sorry, no carry last oh. Yes you can. Bank on it, star 997.
E-Naira. Same Naira, more possibilities.
Ali, these your construction equipment. I hope they are bringing good money.
Things are slow this period.
You should list them all on the Urban Fleet app and get access to more renters. Get the app on your app store and on www.urbanfleet.biz.
What? How did I do?
You did great.
My little boy has talent, so I support him by taking him to auditions.
Your son did great.
helping with his scripts.
Bow down to my flaming sword.
Great job! For nourishment, I give him Twisco.
Mom, I got the role.
Now, it's my turn to be proud of him.
Give your kids Twisco to support their big dreams.
Twisco, power your dreams.
Beat Sakma with Jumia Black Friday. From November 4th till the 30th, you can get access to all those products you've had your eyes on all year at prices that will leave some change in your pocket. You also don't have to pay for delivery fees on thousands of products when you order above 1,999 naira. T's and C's apply.
There you are, riding in silence, both deep in thought. I bet you the driver thinks this ride should have cost more, and you, the passenger, you are sure you are overpaying. Never mind, let's just stay quiet. Or you can both download InDrive and agree on a fair price beforehand. InDrive, people driven. The InDrive online passenger transportation aggregator is not a taxi service. Find more information at www.indrive.com.
Can I see them come true? Can they come alive for me? Yes, they can. Keep walking at it. Keep walking at it. Be it a business or a business idea. Oh, dreams, dreams. Nurture your dreams. Oh, dreams, dreams. You can achieve. You can achieve. Oh, dreams, dreams. Nurture your dreams. Oh, dreams, dreams. You can achieve. You can achieve. You can take the chance you get. Reach out for the sky with the right foundation. You'll nurture your dreams to life. Dreams, dreams. Nurture your dreams. Oh, dreams, dreams. You can achieve. You can achieve. Yeah.
Enroll for the Transforming Nigeria Youth Program at bit.ly/TNY Dream and get your dream off the ground.
Bros, I don't tire now. 500k at the end monthly, but rent and expenses won't finish my life. Now I go take jackpot common for this country. I define.
My sister, see, you must not jackpot before you make it too. Let me advise you. Invest to Vines UT and become a landlord like me. I just got a land from them in Ibejuleki. Imagine paying 250k and still having the opportunity to pay 50k monthly for 2 years. Vines UT Properties is 100% dry land. To celebrate Nigeria's independence, we're offering 10% off all our lands. You also stand a chance to win a free plot of land when you buy land from Vines UT during this promo period. Call 070-0400-0300 or 080-0400-0300. Promo runs from 14th of October to 15th of November 2022. Terms and conditions apply.
When I finish downloading this show like this, I will go straight to Tayo's house to eat sweet jollof. Then enjoy this movie on YouTube. It's just that Tayo will now start disturbing me to turn on my Wi-Fi for him when he can easily enjoy data bonus with MTN for me. With MTN for me, you will get 100% data bonus and discounted data bundles just like that. What are you waiting for? Dial *121# to get started with MTN for me.
Kellogg's presents the highly anticipated Season 1 of the Kellogg's Superstar Quiz Competition, premiering on Z World, Channel 166 on DSTV, and Channel 25 on GoTV, Saturdays and Sundays at 6 p.m., with a repeat broadcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Catch the best of the best, compete, and battle it out for the ultimate prize. The Kellogg's Superstar Quiz Show is supported by Z World.
Whoever the team, whoever the player, whoever the country, whatever the weather, yeah. The Coco is your winning, the Coco is your feeling. Bet on your feelings, just play on BetKing.
This World Cup, your feeling is your superpower. Visit www.betking.com or any BetKing shop now to place bets on our boosted odds Kings Combo and enjoy fast payouts on every win.
That feeling, that's BetKing.
What do we mean when we say ground on level? Now see as you dey hustle, you dey flex joy. You dey enjoy yourself with wetin you get for hand. Now why you fit cool body with the Wazo bottles, 7-Up, Mirinda and Pepsi 35cl for just 50 naira. No matter your choice, so fast than a 35cl glass bottle on our Wazo, because when we say ground on level, because all now Wazo.
Enjoy chilled refreshment with the Wazo bottles, 7-Up, Mirinda, and Pepsi 35cl glass at 50 naira only. Ground on level with the Wazo bottles. All now Wazo.
My dear Lagosians, my name is Funsho Duarte. I envision a Lagos where life is valued, families are safe and secure, businesses can thrive, and citizens can live fulfilled lives with dignity and with respect. We are the commercial nerve center of our great country, Nigeria, yet we have little to show for it compared to other megacities. I am Lagosian, I love Lagos, and I know that we can be more. My name is Funsho Duarte, and I am running for governor of Lagos State.
Vote Funsho Duarte of the African Democratic Congress for Lagos State Governor.
You can have it hot, big chocolate. You can have it cold, big chocolate. You can have it at home, at school, at work, or when you hit the road. It doesn't matter who you are, grown up or a kid. Enjoy the chocolate to goodness every day because you need to reach your peak. Everybody needs nourishing goodness. You can never have enough, it's true. Taste the nourishment you can enjoy. Big chocolate! Big chocolate it is.
Kids, grown-ups, it doesn't matter. Have a rich cup of thick chocolate anytime and enjoy the delicious nourishment of chocolaty goodness.
Big chocolate it is.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
This is football's biggest season. Welcome to the ultimate game on the planet. Qatar 2022 is here for every fan and every home from 20 November.
This is absolutely wonderful.
Get the DSTV HD decoder, dish, plus 1 month DSTV compact subscription for only 14,900 naira to enjoy all 64 matches of Qatar 2022 live in high definition, plus commentary in local languages only on Supersport. Here for every home in Niger.
It's the biggest sales event of the year. Some call it Black Friday, Africans call it
When you shop every day like it's a holiday, oh. Discount the prices, so shop all you want, A Black Friday like you've never seen before. Then you go all I say, thank God it's Yakata.
Konga Yakata from 11th November to 12th December. Genuine products are cheaper at Konga, the e-commerce group you trust.
You too can make most of the football season. Don't just watch the game, be part of the action. Sign up with Lucky Bet to enjoy 600% welcome bonus, 100% new season bonus, and 500% accumulator bonus, and lots more. Get in the game. Download the Lucky Bet app. Start playing and start winning big with Lucky Bet. Put your money where your luck is. Sign up today at www.luckybet.ng/register. Lucky Bet. Get lucky. Get rich.
This is an infomercial.
The CBA Foundation brings you our annual Walk for Hope, an initiative to create awareness and raise funds to support underprivileged widows and their children. Come walk with us this Saturday on the 12th of November at Victoria Island, Lagos, and individuals donate 10,000 naira to participate, which comes with a goodie bag, branded t-shirt, and a face cap. Please visit the website for more information and registration. It's www.cbafoundation.org, or simply send a WhatsApp message to 080-231-415376.
That was an infomercial. This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Yes, we're back. 99.3 Nigeria Info. It's Health Thursday on the Morning Crossfire. Dr. Ogunkoya is here. I'm Sheriff Quadry. 8:45 is the time. So what we're going to do is, because of time, we're going to combine some questions that we have on WhatsApp and on Facebook, so we can attend to all of these questions as quickly as we can, and then we'll take some calls as well. I will hold on to my own questions for now. because you need to get yours across. Dr. Ogunkoya, thank you again for coming through. Wale says, I have pains when urinating. I have pains when ejaculating. I urinate 6 to 7 times at night. I have urgency of urinating. Even during the day, I urinate very many times. What is the solution, please?
I think that's quite straightforward. Wale needs to get to the hospital. It's important that we ensure that he's adequately reviewed because he has mentioned quite a number of things that we've already touched on earlier in the conversation about frequency, about urgency, about dysuria, pain passing out urine, pain ejaculating. And so it's important that he's adequately reviewed at this particular point in time. So I want to plead with Wale and with any other person that shares a similar story to please ensure that going forward from this conversation, you please present to the hospital. Let's actually get a review done and know what's going on.
Exactly. Biodun says, I do regular testicle check and I notice that they are small, even notice they are smaller, but I do have occasional swelling like appendix. Is that connected to...
It's not directly linked to the prostate. Like we had mentioned earlier, I think somebody also commented on it about having some testicular pain. And it's important to know that whilst it's not directly linked to the prostate, it might be some other issues going on with the testis. And so you want to get to the hospital as well to ensure that the testis is actually properly evaluated. Because whilst we had talked about prostatitis and how that there can be some inflammatory process in the prostate, it can also happen with the testis. So an individual can also either have an infection or have something else that is leading to an inflammatory process going on in the testis, and it's important that that is evaluated as well, just so that we're able to tell what might be the cause of that or what's going on there.
I'm glad that we touched on the signs and symptoms and all, because quite a number of people are sending messages connecting to those symptoms. I'm also glad that you said that it could mean some other things.
Absolutely.
AK from Bagada here says, I currently have all these symptoms, including foamy urine. Done several tests, but still can't figure out what it is, what I am having, whether it is prostatitis or not. What else can I do?
All right, great. I'm glad that the question or the comment came with action steps. So he had done this, he had done that, he had done this. So my advice would be very simple. If you had taken steps prior to now and you still seem to have recurring symptoms, you might take that a step further by speaking or seeing a urologist. So there is actually a specialist that actually oversees this aspect of the men's health. So a urologist is in the best position to give you specialist review on exactly what might be going on and then give you next steps in terms of what specific investigations need to be done or what procedures might actually be considered. So if you've done a couple of things prior to now, you might want to speak with a urologist.
Let's take a few more calls, then we go to Facebook and YouTube to take your questions. 01277 0993, 01277 1993, 01277 2993, 01277 3993, or just call the smart number 0700 993 993 993. That's a smart number. All of these numbers that I called out earlier, they are all embedded in that smart number. Good morning to you. Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
We can hear you. Good morning, sir.
Yes. I want to speak with
Yes, please go on. Go on, please. Go on. Yes, you're live now.
Thank you very much. I'm saying this. I want to just call the attention of Kafaya and everyone to this particular thing. Most of us, we call or we send messages because of what we have started from 6:30. So Captain Bank shouldn't be angry that somebody is sending message that we did not read or whatever.
I think you're calling another show. I was trying to figure out what you're doing. So sorry. I was trying to reason like, okay, what is he saying? What is he talking about? Good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Sorry, good morning.
Good morning to you, madam.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning to Doctor. My name is Eniola.
You're welcome.
I just want to find out what's the correlation with this food with prostate cancer or prostatitis, whatever. That's tomatoes and onion. Because my husband usually eats it. I think twice a week, and he says he's using it to prevent prostate cancer or prostatitis or whatever it is. What's the correlation with it?
Okay, food. All right. Eniola, thank you. Let's take another call quickly. Morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Sherry.
Good morning to you.
This is Adeshawa.
Adeshawa, talk to me.
Well, I've done some. I have a son, a 23-year-old son.
Okay.
And I have male friends also.
Okay.
So I had some. The question I want to ask is something that I checked online about this prostatitis or prostate cancer or anything, that it actually affects those that live celibate life. That's one. Then two. Is it true that if you have multiple partners, you won't go down with prostate?
All right. So let's thank you, Aisha, for calling. Let's start with food, then celibate, then yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move very quickly because I know that we have some time constraints.
Exactly.
Thank you. I'm also glad that it's the women that called. So this sort of buttresses what we said earlier, that this conversation is not just for men alone. It's also for the women that love the men as well. So thank you so much for asking and for calling in. So I'll start with the very first one. So it's spot on. So tomatoes are also very good. I think I mentioned it earlier in terms of the foods that would contain lycopene, and tomatoes also do contain lycopene, so it's quite helpful in that sense as well. As much as possible as you can inculcate into your diet, it actually helps. So I want to plead with Madame that she should please
raw or cooked.
Both are actually quite healthy as well. So you can give him both, so it's fine as long as he's getting that into the system, because it's important that we expand that conversation such that men are not constrained to just eat certain things, but they understand that, let's increase our intake of fruits and vegetables. It helps us a great deal eventually. So please, let's continue to help him with the tomatoes. It's actually very helpful. So let me just move to the next two questions, which interestingly are myths that we should debunk in this conversation, because it's often been said that if a man isn't having sexual intercourse regularly, that is at risk of developing prostate problems. But that's completely false. There is nothing that buttresses that. It should not be spread as a means to get individuals who are celibate or who are abstaining from sex and all of that to the point to say, if you don't do this, because this is some of the lies being peddled across in that particular sense.
We have to go. Faye asked the same question about celibacy, but I'm sure that we've been able to answer that. But we really must go now. But I'll have you back here next week, Thursday.
You have put me on the spot.
I'll have you back here because we need to talk about men's health. Well, thank you so much for coming around. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Because that's our show. I'm Sheriff Quadry. Ruth is here and she's got some information for us.
This is an infomercial.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those. Those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not a